Welcome to WCNC Charlotte To Go. We want to bring you up to speed with the latest as far as the elections earlier this week, because there's counts still happening. There's still fallout happening, and people we expect to hear from today. In fact, happening today, we're expecting to hear from President Joe Biden for the first time since Donald Trump's win.
So his speech coming just hours after Vice President Kamala Harris conceded the race to Trump yesterday. WCNC Charlotte's Jay Gray shows us both sides, how they're reacting to his win.
A day later, it's not the speech Vice President Harris had hoped or planned to make.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
A fight that was by any measure a political knockout. In the end, not even close. President-elect Trump sweeping the swing states, knocking down the so-called blue wall, winning with men and first-timers at the ballot box while expanding his support from black, Latino, and young voters.
And then when he won, I was like, oh my God, let's make America great again.
The former and now future president promising a federal shakeup.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history.
He's also proposed eliminating the Department of Education, promised to impose tariffs on imports, stop American support for the war in Ukraine, and again, end U.S. participation in the Paris Climate Agreement.
I think this nation voted without a conscience. And I think there's going to be a huge case of buyer's remorse.
Harris acknowledging the frustration and disappointment of supporters.
Now I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election.
Results, many on both sides say, are unprecedented in U.S. political history.
Now, President Biden has congratulated President-elect Trump and offered to meet with him at the White House during a phone call. We also expect to hear from President Biden about the election a bit later today. Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
Now time to connect some dots when we make the news make sense. The turnout of this year's election could influence major court decisions for decades to come. Donald Trump's re-election as president could mean a conservative majority on the Supreme Court for decades. Let's connect the dots. Right now, there are 9 justices on the U.S. Supreme Court. 6 of them considered conservative, while the remaining 3 are more liberal. Whenever a sitting justice retires or passes away, the sitting president has the opportunity to nominate a new one. During Trump's first term in office, he nominated a total of 3 justices to the court, creating that current conservative majority. The 2 eldest justices are 76-year-old Clarence Thomas and 74-year-old Samuel Alito, both conservative. Now, with another Republican president, they could choose to retire, allowing Trump to nominate 2 younger justices that would sit on the court for decades. While it wouldn't change the court's current majority, it means the high court would remain conservative for many years to come. And that is connecting the dots. This morning, analysts are pointing to young voters as a big reason Donald Trump is heading back to the White House. According to an NBC News exit poll, 55% of voters aged 18 to 29 voted for Harris, while 42% voted for Trump. That was an increase for him. Right now, there's mixed reaction from students over at UNC Charlotte's campus. Some students not really invested in this year's election, while others, their emotions are running high.
Every kind of conversation I hear, every time I'm walking by a group of people, everyone's talking about the election.
Didn't really even think about getting a mail-in ballot, so just didn't end up voting.
Well, compared to those earlier numbers, 60% of 18 to 29-year-olds voted for Joe Biden back in 2020, and just 36% voted for Trump.
All right, now let's turn our attention to the North Carolina General Assembly. Or stand by. It's coming here in just a second. Just a second. Okay, we're on a digital show. So right there, you see the voters aged 18 to 29 in 2020, 60%. Okay, now it's me. All right, so we're talking about the North Carolina General Assembly. Take a look here behind me. This is the North Carolina House as it currently stands. Now, this is a testament to why local politics, state politics is important, even if you do not follow it, because it looks like one race might change this up. Because right now, as you can see here, Republicans have what is considered a supermajority. What that means is that a Democratic Governor, Roy Cooper, or incoming Josh Stein, can veto something, but you know what? They have enough votes. They can override that veto. But because Democrats appear to have picked up one single seat here, that means incoming Democrat Josh Stein can veto something that this 71 Republicans do, and they're not going to have the power to override that veto. Just a reminder of where things stand right now when it comes to the state of North Carolina. Josh Stein, let me pull up the governor's race, won very decidedly on Tuesday, and he's going to be joined by a Democratic lieutenant governor and a Democratic attorney general. So on the state level, it looks like there is some positive news. Republicans will still have that majority in the General Assembly, but the new governor, Josh Stein, will at least have a little bit more power than the current governor does, because he'll be able to veto some Republican legislation, and they won't be able to override him, which is a big deal. Sarah?
All right, Ben, thanks. We're also learning the North Carolina Labor Commissioner, Josh Dobson, is resigning. His resignation comes just a day after Republican Luke Farley won the seat. In a statement, Dobson says he is looking forward to new opportunities in the private sector. He won office in 2020, replacing Sherry Berry when she retired. In 2022, he announced he would not be running for re-election.
This morning, we're hearing from North Carolina's new superintendent of public instruction, Mo Green.
Yeah, Green defeating controversial Republican candidate Michelle Murrow in a closely watched race. Green previously served as the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools administrator and Guilford County superintendent. This morning, he says he's ready to advocate for North Carolina public schools.
When I started with Guilford County Schools, and we had the most low performing schools in the entire state of North Carolina under the old accountability metrics, and the work that so many individuals did to turn that around, right? And so that is incredibly important.
Green says he will focus on elevating teachers and staff at North Carolina public schools.
A reminder, you can stay up to date on all the election news inside the WCNC app. We'll see you back here tomorrow.